crazy.
And now, a three-time sports editor, former online and managing editor, and host of Talk That Talk, award-winning journalist Terrell Chatterbox Emerson.
Welcome to it. Welcome to it. It is 10:15 on a. Is it 10:15? 10:20 at the present moment on the dot on a Thursday night. So you guys know what time it is. It is time for Talk That Talk. I am your host, Terrell Chatterbox Emerson. I'm in studio Dolo again. Solo Dolo studio session tonight, but it is your Thursday episode of the Talk That Talk radio show once again. I am your host, Terrell Chatterbox Emerson. But yeah, man, we have a lot to get to. I have actually some breaking news to get to. We have final series to get to. We have Las Vegas Aces news to get to. We have plenty of news to get to on this beautiful Thursday night. Episode 37 of season 7 of the Talk That Talk radio show. Once again, in totality, episode 363 in totality of the Talk That Talk radio show. I'm trying to figure out if I want to read this or not. Because my mom, I don't have a tip in that I really am feeling from my mom tonight. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So this is what I'm gonna do, guys. We're gonna go over socials. We're gonna break down where we are, obviously. Something that flew in my eye. We're gonna break down where we are, obviously. Following that, we'll get into the breaking news, and then we'll go from there. But again, guys, thank you for joining us on this Thursday. Thank you for spending time with us on this Thursday. We appreciate you guys as always. We thank you guys as always. I'm at a point now where anytime we do this show, especially considering that we're on season 7, right? Year 7, here in Vegas, and we're continuing to learn every day. We're continuing to build every day. We're continuing to try to grow community every day. And I'm just really proud of where this company, or where the show for sure has been, and where this company has been, obviously, as a whole too. But again, guys, just in terms of this radio show, if you guys would like to watch our radio shows, you guys can do so. First of all, Mondays 3 to 5, and then on Thursdays 10 to midnight, like tonight. If you would like to do that, all you have to do is go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk radio show. Once again, go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk radio show. It's pretty much the same across every platform, guys. It's going to be the same on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I already mentioned this. No, I didn't mention Instagram just yet. Facebook. The one thing that would be different is our Twitter. Our Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. Once again, our Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. But yeah, man, like I said before, I'm extremely excited to get to the show tonight and some of the things that we have going. I'm to a point, once again, I kind of just highlighted it, but we are in a busy mode right now. We are in a very busy mode at the present moment. We are in probably my busiest season. That's just a quick little guess, but it's definitely the busiest season for me. Just kind of right offhand, just thinking about it. I feel like the level is off in this chair. Sorry, guys. But we have a lot to get to. But before we do that, this show is being shot from the Harry Reid Research and Technology Park here on Sunset, here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, I have the show drawn up to 12. So I have it drawn up to 12. My brother's birthday is at midnight, so I might actually place a call if we're still doing the show. But in terms of the breaking news, about an hour ago, maybe a little more than an hour ago now, it was reported by ESPN originally, right? According to the Washington Post, so they had it first, my apologies. According to a warrant that was reviewed by the Washington Post, police are actively looking for former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown on an attempted murder charge. Very serious. Very serious allegations. It's about 2 hours now. So very serious allegations. This you know what? This is where I'm at. And this is how I'm trying to approach it. As you guys can tell, I'm still processing the news, but this stems from something that the most of the world saw last month following a celebrity boxing event in Miami, I believe it was. Yeah, it does say it. So to see and know the jokes that have been said about Antonio Brown, whether he's participated in them or not, it's moments like this that make you realize that these jokes, at some point, we have to take them seriously, I should say. If we believe something to be up with Antonio Brown, Antonio Brown has joked about something being up with him. Teammates and family members say after a certain point, he just wasn't the same anymore. To hear things like that, and now to see what we're watching kind of unfold in front of us, it should make us all think. We all, let me not say we all. A lot of us have played part in the jokes. Only to sit back now in a moment like this and have the conversations and or the questions about how far is too far. How many times have we asked it? What has to happen before we get an answer? I'm interested to see what the conversation around this arrest warrant is. I'm interested to see how much coverage it gets. Antonio Brown jokes or not, has needed help for some time. And it's Men's Mental Health Month. And I think that we should highlight that. I don't think things happen by circumstance. This arrest warrant comes in June during Men's Mental Health Month. Now, granted, there are some people that may be asking, what do you do with a person that doesn't identify that they need help? How do you help them? I think it's a valid question. For me, I think what it turns into is not wanting to aid the situation. So in my mind, if I don't aid the situation, if I don't egg it on, I'm not contributing to it. I'm not helping it. I'm not adding to it. A lot of us, myself included, have laughed at the hashtag CTESPN, especially considering what he said afterward. I think most of us can look and identify that something's up. Prayers for everybody involved. Tired of hearing these situations. Don't know if they're ever going anywhere. But here we are. So I do have basketball news first. I have Aces news, NBA Finals news, into some national news, maybe international news, depending on who's listening, right? But after that, we have baseball and we have the Nighthawks to close out the rest of the show. My dad didn't send a tip in tonight either, so maybe it will be a quick one. We'll see. But what's going on with the Aces? Does this one feel different than last year? It felt like last year there was a silver lining coming, right? Like there was going to be a moment where this team hit a stride and you were going to think that they were possibly the best team in the league, one of the best teams in the league. Does this year feel different? So I talked about it during the 20-point loss against Seattle. I talked about it following a 27-point loss to Golden State. And now you couple that with the team's second Commissioner Cup loss in his first three outings, first three tries. And that's just on the surface. We can get to some specifics now. It's almost like I didn't pronounce the P. We can get to some specifics now. There we go. But let's start with A'ja Wilson. So A'ja Wilson, there's a couple different places to start, but A'ja Wilson went the entire first half without a made field goal. And I know A'ja's the best player on this team. I know what A'ja has been able to do. I said that I think A'ja might have entered her prime the second championship run. I think that was her entering her prime. So I think we're in it. Even with how good A'ja Wilson has been this year, one thing that I noticed, and I've put it in my coverage, how many times has she been held under 20 points? Defenses are selling out. A'ja Wilson cannot be the one to go give us 30 and 15 tonight. And she's still done it in certain games. One in particular that really stands out to me. But you take that and you add in the fact that A'ja gets beat up every single night, right? So you have defenses selling out in the year, getting beat up every single night. So during yesterday's game, first of all, A'ja's nose is already stuck with paper, right? Stuffed with paper. With tissue, I should say. She eventually takes herself out of the game with 1 minute and 17 seconds left in the third quarter after picking up her play in the third quarter. Hit her first field goal at the 9-minute mark. Believe she hit her second one about 1.5 minutes later, maybe less than 1.5 minutes later. So she leaves the game with 13 points. Shortly after heading to the bench, she retires to the locker room for the remainder of the game. Now, we don't know what happened. Becky talked about it actually a little bit afterwards, right? But we don't know how serious it was in the moment. Could have been precautionary. Nobody wants anybody to miss games, right? But I just want to pose a question. If the Aces were in a situation where A'ja would have to miss a game or two, is this back-to-back? Would it be back-to-back losses for an Aces team without A'ja Wilson? Or would that be what this team needs? Just in terms of trying to find its niche to be most effective when A'ja has the ball in her hands. I believe she left yesterday's game with 5 assists too. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, left the game. So I say that to say nobody wants your best player to miss games. But to answer my questions from earlier, did this one feel different than last year? Yes, it does. Feels different. What does it feel different to the tune of? Not sure yet. It feels so different that I wouldn't be shocked if the team tried to make a big mid-season acquisition. It wouldn't shock me. Now, the way that this story kind of played out to me, Yes, Asia Wilson is a storyline, right? But Jackie Young goes out there and ties a career high with 34 points on 50% shooting, mind you, and does it in a losing effort. So Jackie goes out there and rattles off 11 straight. Where's my notes? Let's have fun with it. Well, as much fun as we can have. So Jackie goes out there, rattles off 11 straight points in the second quarter after the team had already fallen behind by 20 points. I don't know if you guys peeped this, but the Aces went without a field goal for nearly 6.5 minutes between the end of the first quarter, or to close the first quarter and open the second quarter. The Aces went without a field goal for nearly 6.5 minutes. A Jackie Young mid-range bucket is what ended that stretch. That was soon to be part of back-to-back or 8 straight points for her, including back-to-back and ones. It eventually ended up being 11 straight points as she was the main catalyst for an 11-0 run for the Aces, heading into a timeout with 5 minutes and 32 seconds to go before halftime. At that point, the Aces were down 9 points. Jackie comes out of halftime, or comes out of the timeout and actually knocks down the 3 as well. So she scored 14 straight points for Las Vegas, had an individual 11-0 run in the game. Aces still couldn't pull it out. I asked that question about Asia missing games because, as I said before, nobody wants your favorite player to miss games, right? Your favorite player, your best player, your MVP, your leader, all of those different things. I agree. However, it didn't feel like, and I wasn't in the building last night. It didn't feel like, as I'm watching on a TV screen, that the Aces were going to come back. But to see what I was already seeing and continue to see from Jackie Young, coupled with a 25-point performance by Finals MVP from the first championship run, Chelsea Gray, this team played with a different spark. This team played with a different alertness, a different edge without Asia on the floor and without Asia on the bench, not knowing if she was coming back. This team looked more alert. That's the only thing that comes to mind. It looked more alert. I know there's another word that's going to come to me shortly, but they looked. It's going to come to me. There was a sense of urgency that group had as that game was winding down that almost appeared made it appear like that first quarter and a half, or excuse me, 2 quarters and a half, at the very least first half, that the team was sleepwalking. Now, I mentioned that first half. Rickea Jackson was a part of a first half, a first quarter specifically, that saw her score 12 points. Did I lie? 14? 14 points, my apologies. 14 points in that first quarter, including 4 made threes on her way to a career night with 30 points. Pardon. That hiccup was terrible. Sorry, guys. Rickea Jackson goes out there and helps lead a dominant dominant Sparks performance that results in the home team losing the points in the paint battle 44-32. Not to mention the visitors come in and shoot 57% on your home floor while holding you to 38% and 9 of 35 from 3. Oh, going back to the A'ja Wilson point for a third time. If A'ja were to miss games, nobody's anticipating it, but if A'ja were to miss games, those 35 threes, I think we get a lot of those. Kelsey Plum scored 13 points in her return, her second return, as an opposing player to the Michelob Ultra Arena. Also had 9 assists too in the game. I think that's very important to highlight, especially on a big night for Rickea Jackson. Jewell Loyd, however, three field goal attempts in the first less than 2 minutes. She closes the first quarter 2 of 5. Again, Jewell Loyd closed the first quarter against the Sparks 2 of 5 from the field. She would be held to one made field goal the remainder of the way. In addition, coming out of halftime, Becky Hammon opted to go with rookie Aaliyah Nye coming out of the break. Shout out to Daryl Harris. Shout out to D Hoop. Who asked the question to Becky about the possibility. First of all, he asked about the Aaliyah Nye coming starting the second half for the group. But he highlighted if the possibility of bringing Jewell off the bench was on her radar, was something that had been discussed, was something that she had thought of. And this is what she had to say.
Coach, there was only 3 bench points tonight, and Jewell, I noticed, only played 15 minutes or so heading into the fourth quarter. Is moving her to the bench something that's even been thought of or maybe considered to allow her more of a free range offensively?
I think she's getting good looks. She just has missed them. She got in foul trouble. I know she came out because she had 3 fouls. So that's always a little bit of a hindrance in somebody's playing time. But she's doing a lot of other things right. Yes, it's been talked about, brought up by her.
Schwartz.
So, first of all, how about that question? How about that answer? So, the part of that quote that actually stands out to me the most, she said it's been brought up, and it's been brought up by Jewell. Look, this team just won a championship 2 years ago. Reigning defending champion as early, or as late rather, as the semifinals of last season. Jewell Loyd gets here in exchange for a pivotal piece of this group. And she struggles out of the gate. Maybe it's not a stumble out of the gate. Maybe it's a full-blown flat face so far, right? 8 games in. The team is 500 on the year, 6th in the WNBA, sitting behind a 9-0 New York team who currently are the reigning and defending champions of the league, followed by a Minnesota team that just lost the first game that they've lost all season long at 9-1. Atlanta 6-3, Phoenix is 7-4, Seattle is 6-4, and then you have your Aces at 4-4. They're a half game up on Indiana and Golden State, sitting behind the group. They're a game behind or a game in front of Washington as well. To hear that Jewell Loyd has brought up the prospect of coming off the bench. To me, shows A, that she's willing to do anything to shake out of this slump. B, you know what? Before I explain B, or I say B, let me explain it before I even say it. What tends to happen, a lot of players will say that they don't hear certain things, right? Not saying Jewell is one of those players per se. But the fact that it's been brought up and it's been brought up by her leads me to believe that not only does she hear it, it's starting to resonate and it's starting to fester. I noticed it when she came out and took 3 shots in the first minute and 40 seconds of the game. I said, I've watched Jewell Loyd pass the entire first quarter, and now I've watched Jewell Loyd come out and tell everybody to move out the way. And that was the one thing that I said was going to be different in terms of not having Kelsey Plum, right? There were times last season, the past, actually her entire career, where Kelsey would understand, hey, this is a moment for me to take over. This is a moment for me to go get to the free throw line, get a basket, drive and kick, something. Everybody move. I knew that it was going to take some time before Jewell Loyd felt that comfort level to say, everybody move. I got this one. Maybe she'll feel more freedom in the second unit. Maybe it works. Well, we'll see tomorrow night, 7 p.m. from the house once again. Second of a 3-game homestand for the Aces. They welcome in a 1-10 Dallas team. Now, keep in mind, I said this already too. Let's go back and revisit what I said maybe a week ago. I literally said not to jump the gun, but I said if the Aces are able to take care of Golden State, a first-year franchise, take care of a Sparks team that they just beat maybe about a week ago, and then you take care of an underachieving Dallas team presently, then you get into, okay, now this team is headed into this, right? At that time, it would have been a 5-game win streak. Their 2-game win streak was ended against Golden State. Now it's turned into back-to-back losses. And now you have a 1-10 team coming in. Stories will be told tomorrow night. Let's talk about another story that was told last night. It was game 3 of the NBA Finals. Game 3 of the NBA Finals from Indiana. First finals game in Indiana in 25 years. A 116-107 victory for Indiana over Oklahoma City. I know people get tired of people like myself in sports who keep referring to our job as chronicling a season, right? But that is what it is. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith, right? He's described it best in terms of what our job is to do in this field. It would be real cliche to say that the Pacers are outpacing Oklahoma City through 3 games. Through 2 of the 3 games. That is exactly what's happening in this NBA Finals. Oklahoma City last night in the fourth quarter looked tired. It looked like it had no legs. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander missing free throws kind of proved that for me. That's not something he does often. Somebody actually at the bar last night told me, they said, well, he's taking a long time to get up. And I went and looked. So yeah, I said he's gathering his breath. He's catching his breath. He's being smart, right? But he did that, and then he clanked the first free throw. So now I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking at the heavy breathing. Somebody at the bar yesterday asked me something about the Pacers, and I said, hey, it doesn't matter if Indiana loses tonight. Winning game 1 doesn't matter if they lose game 3. Doesn't matter if they lose game 4. You know what else I thought about when I saw Shai miss a couple of free throws? When I saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander laboring toward the end of the game, I thought about all those times that Oklahoma City was up 20 and 30. And Shai was in the game. Yes, there was an MVP to go take. He did that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went out there and grabbed an MVP. It appears that MVP chase that everybody thought was going to catch up to him and his team in the first round, if not the second round, maybe they have to ask themselves if it's caught up to him now. I could be wrong. But through 3 games, Indiana has tied the closest it's ever been to an NBA championship. Game 4 is tomorrow from Indiana, from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. As it presently stands, I don't think they're going to change anything. I think these are all set in stone. Game 4 is on Friday, 5:30 p.m. Monday, right after I talk to you guys, 3 to 5, Game 5 is scheduled for Monday. If the series is still going on, by the way, Game 5 will be in Oklahoma City. If the series is still going on June 19th, on Juneteenth, the Indiana Pacers would host Game 6 And if the series ends up filling up, then Game 7 will be played on a Sunday, June 22nd, from Oklahoma City. I seen a lot of crazy stats about this NBA Final Series, but we can move on. I have a lot to kind of get to tonight. Gonna go until midnight. Got about an hour left. Again, thank you guys for joining us on this Thursday show, episode 37 of season 7 of the Talk That Talk radio show. I am your host, Terrell Chatterbox Emerson, in this beautiful studio, in this beautiful suite, here at the Harry Reid Research and Technology Park by myself on this beautiful Thursday night. It just hit the 11 o'clock hour. Again, if you guys are watching on YouTube, we thank you guys. If you guys would like to watch on YouTube, all you have to do is go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk radio show. Once again, go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk radio show, and you should be good to go. It's the same across every other platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Facebook. The one thing that would be different is our Twitter. Our Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. Once again, our Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. But yeah, man, let's get right to it. And we can get to hour number 2, right? So I'm gonna be honest. I have more than an hour drawn up. So I have some things to update you guys on. Maybe I'm gonna see how I want to do this, but I'm gonna give you guys just my thoughts on some of the things that have happened around the world of sports over the past couple of days, right? Let's go to tonight for a quick second. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Leon Draisaitl. First of all, I have questions for every hockey fan, right? Now, I've done a lot of playoff hockey watching. As far as the storylines, I think the first time I started to really pay attention to storylines was Nashville's first year. PK Subban. Why am I blanking on the goalie's name? And it's about to drive me up a wall. I'm staring at an F too in the name. I'm gonna wonder if I can find it. It's neither here nor there, but I just want to know it, right? But I want to know if it's similar to basketball from the standpoint of it was Pekka Rinne. It wasn't an F. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. Sorry, guys. So my question to hockey fans out there, especially if you're an avid hockey watcher, if you're an avid playoff follower, is it similar to basketball in most cases, where the team with the best player on the ice, on the court, is probably going to lead their team to victory? If that's the case, how good has Edmonton Stars been this entire postseason run? Past 2 postseason runs. I told you guys when this series started, Florida gives me an East Coast Vegas team, right? A pesky team, a scrappy team, a team that won't go away, a team that, you know, if you have to play them, no matter what the series or the seasons are, might want to throw them out the window. It might not matter, right? This series started, and I told everybody that would ask me about it. It's really hard for me to believe that Edmonton doesn't bring the cup back to Canada this year. Last year, when the storyline was, hey, can they do it? Can Canada do it? Can Canada regain the cup? And then the Four Nations happened. And I said, huh. So you couple that with the play of Edmonton, You couple that with the 4th game-winning overtime goal of this postseason run, and Edmonton gets a 5-4 victory in overtime tonight. By the way, not trying to overdo it, but if you guys bet out there, if you guys are gambling people, beautiful people of Sin City and beyond, I seen the over-under before this game at 6.5. I said, well, that's going to happen. Go back and look at what these games have produced thus far. A lot of scoring, a lot of last-second opportunities, a lot of gasp moments. I'm sure a lot of groaning and sighing moments. Even still, this beautiful series is tied at 2 apiece. Heading into game 5. I want to say it's on Saturday. It could be off. It is. So it's on Saturday from Edmonton, TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Have the game. 5 p.m. is the scheduled time for puck drop. The winner moves a game closer to hoisting that cup. Quick note. Coco Gauff, winner of the French Open, along with Carlos Alcaraz, right? To hear the and I don't even know the name, and this is not why I'm even gonna. I was gonna go look it up, but I'm not going to. I feel like Coco Gauff winning at the French Open, the first American to do so, the first female American, to do so since Serena Williams did it. Whether it's Sloane, whether it's Coco, whether it was Naomi, we felt like younger talent was on the way, right? Now, they've dealt with a lot in the process of it. As do most athletes. Well, a lot of athletes, because some deal with very little resistance, little to no resistance, and I think it also shows. Refer to the start of the show. So, just from the outside looking in, to watch the commentary behind the comments of her opponent and what it means for the sport of tennis, all of these different things, right? You guys know my favorite motto. 2 things can be true. Yes. I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go find her name. Sorry. This is going to drive me up a wall now. And let's hope I don't butcher it. I know Sabalenka is her last name. I only see the first initial. Let me see. I want to see if we can get the audio from her.
Basically, that's
Okay, here we go. So, following the matchup, it was Abby, right? No, it's Ariana. Ariana Sabalenka. Let's listen to what she had to say following the loss to Coco Gauff in the French Open.
so basically that's it. I was just making unforced errors. Like, I don't know, I have to check the statistics. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes from, like, if you look from the outside, kind of like from an easy balls.
But is it harder because it's the final of the Grand Slam? I mean, these events are so much bigger than
Yeah,
everything
that
else.
hurts. I mean, especially when you've been playing really great tennis during the whole week. You know, you've been playing against a lot of tough opponents, Olympic champion Iga, you know, and then you go out and you play really bad. Like, I don't know. I think if Iga would win me another day, I think she would go out today and she would get the win. It just, you know, like, yeah, it just hurts. Honestly, it hurts. Like, been playing really well, and then in the last match, go out there and perform like I did. That hurts.
So, as much as I wanted to, I don't want to say defend, but view this through the lens of, hey, you're talking to an athlete after they just lost a match of a lifetime, right? I still feel like you could look at it through that way. However, when you say, I think if the person that I beat getting here would have gotten here, I think they would have gotten the win. Now you've taken it further than we or myself could have done this if given another opportunity, if I would have done this, if I would have prepped differently, if I would have ate differently, whatever. For me, where it changes is where you say, hey, even the runner-up to my runner-up shit probably could have came out here and got the win. So it sounds like she should have had your spot, not the other way around. You know what? I'll end this with a story from the bar really quick, but I am a firm believer that, from experience, mind you, I'm a firm believer that even with coaches, I don't really like to do it. Baseball's a little different, but even with coaches, I don't like to do it, right? Bothering anybody like during a game, during a match, I think you get whatever response you get. That said, when they come out of said game, match, whatever, I give them a little bit of grace considering I don't know where my emotions would be. But for all the people that want to keep their politics out of sports and things like that, there are people like myself too who would love to at times. And then I hear things like this in this tone. And for a society that likes to police tones and monitor how people are feeling, I think we're a little too knowledgeable now at this point to feel like that didn't come with a certain tone. What's the tone? I'll let you identify it. Just thoughts that run through my head. I do have baseball to get to. I have athletics and aviator news to get to. We'll end with a little bit of prepping for a big time indoor football game this weekend from Lee's Family Forum. I should have talked about this before, but Canelo and Crawford? Fam. Take my money now. All of it. everybody knows how I feel about Bud Crawford. I feel like guys ran from him. I do. I feel like even if guys didn't run from him, their promoters and handlers kept a lot of people away from Bud Crawford. I was one of those people growing up a Manny Pacquiao fan who said, I don't want to see that fight. I think I know how this ends. Now, Bud gets the biggest test of his career. He moves up. And I want to see what the fight weight is to be sure. Which is what I thought. Bud is moving up to 168. Now, I talked to Bud after his first welterweight fight, and we talked about the power translating. I don't deny that Bud's skills will translate at 168. The problem is Canelo is still going to be the bigger man. What I see as a possibility, and this is what would be kind of the shocker for me, but if Canelo weighs on him, and I don't mean this in the proverbial boxing sense, I mean physically weighs on Bud. That's what I think the shock of an outcome would be, right? What I think we're more likely to get is a Bud that goes in there trying to analyze and assess, and a Canelo that's going in there looking to snipe. I think shortly thereafter, we get a very, very locked in defensive matchup. I think Canelo gets the win. I have until September 13th to make my decision. Let's add to the fact that this is going to happen at Allegiant Stadium, a place that will go down in history as the first location to host back-to-back WrestleManias. And here my allergy goes right on cue. So we get the fight of the year, well, on paper, the fight of the year inside Allegiant Stadium, September 13th, and Bud can shock the world. Let me tell the story about Bud, and then I'll go back to that bar story. I do owe you guys a bar story. Anytime I watch a Bud fight and they tell that story about how Bud was shot in the head and he drove himself to the hospital. So yeah, he's a little different. Couple that with the fact that I left an Aces game one day. I'm walking out after media and everything else, right? So I'm walking out kind of late, and I see some people, like more people than I should. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I look over. I just said I covered this fight. I look over and I see Bud Crawford. And I see one person with him. And he's on the phone. And I watch a row of people stand there while Bud was on the phone at a safe distance and respectfully ask Bud for pictures, autographs, everything afterward. I walked by, and after having a conversation with Bud previously, I said, this man is crazy. I said, this man ain't wrapped too tight. He doesn't understand his boxing status, his celebrity status at this point. But I watched how everybody handled him with care. And I'm going to tell you guys and remind you guys what Robert Byrd, Hall of Fame boxing referee, told me. He said, hey, there have only been 2 times where I've been in the locker room with somebody, giving them the instructions before a fight, and they're staring a hole in me like we're fighting. The first of those 2 names is the great, long live the great George Foreman. The second name was Bud Crawford. I think there are some people who are boxing fans because of Canelo. Hell of a reason. There are some that are going to tune into this fight and have never seen Bud Crawford fight. That would be a mistake. Canelo knows who Bud Crawford is very well, which is why I do see Canelo pulling it out. Please don't ask me the percentage. Just don't know. We got baseball news ×2. Then some Nighthawk prep. So this show started a little bit after 10 because I'm still covering, even though I wasn't in the building, I'm still covering the Aviator game, right? So it's probably a good time that I let you guys know that the Aviators upped their win streak to 4 straight games. They picked up a 3rd straight victory over the Salt Lake Bees earlier tonight. We'll get to why that's interesting in a second. I want to talk Jack Perkins. If we're talking pitching over the last couple of weeks for the Aviators, Jack Perkins is going to be one of the first names out of your mouth, right? He took a no-hitter into the 7th inning today. He struck out 10, or rewind. He struck out 12. Let's not short Jack Perkins. Struck out 12, took a no-hitter into the 7th. Ends up a part of a victory for Vegas. A 8-1 victory for Vegas. And I don't know why. Okay, here we go. I was waiting to make sure I have my game log up. I want to give you guys the starts from Jack Perkins this year. You guys ready? He's got 8 appearances this year, 8 starts. Let's go hits allowed first. Let's go down the line. He's gone 4 innings pitched, 3 1/3, which is actually a season low. 5 2/3, 4 2/3, 5, 5, 5, and 6 1/3 tonight. Let's see what that hit column looks like for his season. 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 4, 2, 2 tonight. Might as well go down the line. Let's go to runs. 0, 6 in a season high effort on the road at Reno. That was the second start of the season. Since then, 2, 0, 2, 3, 0, and 1 tonight. Last one I want to do is strikeouts. 4, 5, 7, 7, 7, 9, 10, and 12 tonight. Jack Perkins has been balling. No way around it. Fran Reardon talked about this group from top to bottom, having arms, right? I still can't get over the fact that this team let go of its best pitcher last season, right? And I don't mean statistically, I mean based on awards. You awarded Joe Boyle as the best pitcher for your AAA organization, and he's in Tampa. And let me double check. Is he still in Tampa? He should still be in Tampa. Still in Tampa. Let you know how much I've been watching the Rays. Jack Perkins already entered the week as the PCL's pitcher of the week. And then he goes out there tonight and has a masterful performance at Las Vegas Ballpark as part of a 4th straight victory for the Aviators. Again, 3rd straight over Salt Lake. Three more games against the Bees, all coming this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As presently constructed, your Aviators are still first place in all of the PCL. They are now 3.5 games up on Oklahoma City, 5 games up on Sugarland, and 7.5 games up on El Paso. So we're getting closer and closer to the end of the first half. The Aviators have been in first place or tied for first place all but one day of the first half. I'm excited to see where it goes. As I mentioned before, I told you guys I didn't really want to talk too much about the Aviators this season because I felt like they had the team to win it all. And sure enough, this team is competing as if it has the ability to win it all. And that includes the last 5 weeks or so of constant movement, right? I'm talking DFAs, guys getting their major league debuts, guys making highlight reel catches, maybe catches of the year, Denzel. It gives you guys an idea for how up and down and wacky this AAA season has been already for the Aviators. And I still feel like it might result in a Manager of the Year award for Fran Riordan. That would be his 3rd in 5 seasons if it were to happen. Maybe I need to go take a look at the rest of the league. But considering what Fran Riordan has dealt with this season, and considering that they have been in first place and or tied for first place every day of the year, with the exception of one when it sat in second, tied for second rather, which I think might have been like 4 games into the year. I have to triple check. To see what Fran Riordan and company have been able to do after already going up to Sacramento and serving as a bench coach, he's even dealt with himself getting a call up. Speaking of the call up, right? The A's just wrapped up a series against the Angels. I talked about it on Monday. The parent clubs will be locking horns while the Aviators and the Bees got to it here in Vegas. The A's weren't nearly as successful as its AAA affiliate over the Angels. Another sweep, a 3-game sweep this time. The Athletics are 0-7 against the Angels this year. Now, again, I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I'm coming for anybody's job, right? However, that number right there, that number leads me to believe that that is the type of number that will force this management to make a decision. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not backing off of my original point that Mark Kotsay was never really put into a good position to succeed. We see it. We lived it. We felt it. Still living it. Still feeling it. We see it. Mark Kotsay has not been put in a position to win. It felt like whenever this team got here to Vegas, him being a part of the group would be a long shot considering some high overachieving, right? And then last year happens. They overachieved last year. Mark Kassé and this group did a hell of a job winning games that they shouldn't have even been in, at least on paper. Let's look at the age of this team now, right? Said it wanted to go young, it finally does it. But how far removed are the Angels from the A's? Or is it vice versa? Therein lies the problem. I think because those two can be interchangeable, I don't think the A's can lose 7 straight games to the Angels, mind you, without winning one. We just saw Tom Thibodeau get fired from the Knicks. I think if Tom Thibodeau loses to Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe they still fire him, but I don't think they do. If they lose to Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, I definitely don't think they fire him. But he lost to the Pacers, and they fired him. Part of me feels like firing him was not that he lost. It was that he lost to the Pacers. That happens. You can lose. You're not supposed to lose to them. Another sweep means that the A's stay at the bottom of the AL West. 26-44 on the year, 5th in the AL West. They are 13 games behind first place. And now it's really starting to start to kind of separate a little bit. Got my legs crossed, so that's why you guys see me over here on Twitter. On Twitter. Over here on Instagram. What is wrong with me saying all these other apps that's not YouTube? But it's really starting to get ugly now because it's 7.5 games back of the Rangers for 4th place. Headed to the road next. Well, remaining on the road next, right? They're in California, but they're in Anaheim. Were in Anaheim. Now you're headed to Kansas City to do battle with the Royals. Three games against a team that was just pummeled by the Yankees. They could be looking at this as a get-right moment, which I won't say that they're wrong for. Might be the way I would be looking at it. First game is tomorrow, 5:10 p.m. from Kauffman Stadium. Is it still Kauffman Stadium? I haven't even checked. That's probably not good. One of the most beautiful ballparks, too, by the way. Whatever the hell it's called today. Technically, about 25 minutes left in the show. The Talk That Talk radio show. Again, we thank you guys for joining us. Episode 37 of season 7. We're over into the 360s of this radio show that is currently being shot from the Harry Reid Research and Technology Park here on Sunset, here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Big games this weekend, right? All the way around. I don't know that any are bigger than when Bay Area visits Vegas from Lee's Family Forum on Saturday night, 6 p.m. a spot where Vegas is 3-1 this season, right? 3-1 this season at home, 3-3 on the road. But you have an opportunity now, once again, to play the first place team and turn some heads, right? Now, this team has a win over Arizona this year, who's currently second place in the West. I'm kind of ruining my order of business here, but Arizona's currently second place in the West. But Bay Area has slid in the first. And Vegas has a chance to pick up a 7th win while simultaneously throwing itself right back into the mix at the top of the Western Conference. Now, if you ask Mike Davis and company, he's right. They've never left the mix. But as presently constructed, they're tied for third right now in the West, 6-4. 6-4 in the West, but they're tied with a San Diego team that's also 6-4 and owns the tiebreaker as it presently stands. 3 meetings this season with the Strike Force, and Vegas dropped 2 of them. So now both the Strike Force and the Nighthawks are looking up at a 7-3 Arizona team and a 7-2 Bay Area team. This game for first place is a huge deal, is a humongous deal. Can result, and I talked to Mike Davis about it too after the last game, and I told you guys about it on Monday, I believe. A lot of these years, especially in the West, are separated by a game, 2 games, 3 games, whatever the case may be. Vegas has already had a chance to play for first place. It dropped it. Vegas had a chance to claim third place outright. It dropped it. Vegas is going to get maybe 2 or 3 more of these moments, unless it's the postseason, right? To go out and go. And granted, it did do it against Arizona. But this is maybe one of 2 or 3 remaining opportunities to go out in a playoff-like atmosphere during the regular season. What does this group do? How does this group handle it? I'll be back on Monday to tell you guys about it, especially because I got a confirmation from somebody today for Monday. We could do it. I don't mind telling you guys. Justin Russo will be here on Monday, guys. Russo will be here Monday to talk some NBA Finals news, to talk Stanley Cup Final, to talk your Nighthawks, right? So I want to highlight, where are we at? Here we go. Because I thought I wasn't going to do it, but I am going to do it. So this is Men's Mental Health Month. This is Men's Mental Health Month, and considering I don't have tip-ins from my parents today, I want to read something that I posted today, only because it registered and I felt like it was applicable. Not all, but felt like it was applicable. So I said, let me go ahead and share this. And first of all, to all men that are out there, I actually thought about this recently, as early as today, actually, or as late as today, earlier today, actually. As I pay attention, as I read these 7 signs that a man is emotionally exhausted and just pretending to be okay. Now, granted, everybody's different. Granted, everybody is at a different stage in terms of what they're learning about themselves. But I read through this and I found myself, I always feel like I'm emotionally worn down, right? I feel like I have to have my energy in a lot of different places. In reading this, I didn't realize how I cope with certain things when I am emotionally drained. But we'll go through these 7 as part of kind of a collective tip in during this Men's Mental Health Month. And we can get out of here, guys. Number 1, he stops having preferences. Always willing to do what other people want. He never fights for what matters to him, even the things he enjoys. Number 2, he has a very different public and private demeanor. At home, he's quiet and withdrawn, but as soon as people are around, he's cracking jokes and chatting it up. I want to pause there, because that hit home, right? I also read recently about being functionally depressed. This isn't a podcast, so I won't get too deep into it right now, but I think a lot of people that we encounter may be functionally depressed. And I mean encounter on a daily basis. Number 3, he retreats further from his relationships and more into work. He uses the little energy he has to get work done, so relationships require energy that he simply doesn't have. Number 4, he downplays his struggles and brushes it off. When someone asks how he's doing, it's always I'm good or just tired, never opening up about what's really going on. Pause here. People laugh at me now because of my response, but I remember when I tore my Achilles and I went to go do an interview with Shakur Juice, shout out to Juice, right? And Andy Grossman of the UNLV basketball program, I walked in and I'm limping. I'm in my walking boot. And he was like, okay, what happened? He said, I've been seeing you around in the boot. I said, I tore my Achilles. He looked at me kind of with wide eyes and was like, whoa, like, you're still coming to every game? I said, nobody cares. Work harder. And that's literally what my dad has taught me since I was a child. Now, I'm not here to say that my dad was wrong in that teaching, because I do believe that made me the man I am today. We do have questions, or we do have conversations to this day, though, about identifying who the nobody is. Because there are people who care about you. It's important to find those people. During Men's Mental Health Month, I like the fact that I'm ending a show like this. He becomes overly self-sufficient. This is number 5. He becomes overly self-sufficient and stops asking for help. He believes he has to carry everything alone and doesn't want to bother anyone with his problems. He usually refuses help, even when he needs it. Number 6, he loses interest in the things he used to enjoy. Hobbies, passions, even small daily things start to feel like too much effort, and he tells himself they don't matter anymore. And this last one, he gets easily irritated over small things. His patience runs thin very easily. He starts reacting more strongly to small inconveniences, not because they're a big deal, but because he's emotionally drained. As I mentioned before, I just think it's important to know that you're not alone in this world. I think it's important to know that the things that you may be feeling have not been felt for the first time by you. There are a lot of people dealing with a lot of things out there. And I do want to highlight and applaud the fact that over the last couple of years, it's become less stigmatized and more identified. For that, us men, we thank you guys. Until next time, gang. Keep on talking.
This be crazy.